What's up, Mrs. O? Do you have the list for the Chevy that's out here?
Oh, this list? This?
And thank you.
There you go.
Hi Luna, hi Pumpkin, hi Kitty Kitty, how are you? Good kitty.
There we are, folks. The 2002 Chevrolet. It's the Tahoe. It's got the 5.3, and it smells like frustration. Actually, when you sit in it, it smells more like anger. I don't know why, but that's the juju it's putting off anyhow. I got the list. And he writes, Tahoe will not shift at transfer case, no light on dash. Long story short, as they say, the buttons don't work. It doesn't go into four-wheel drive. And then he writes, it's been at the Napa Service Center. They charged me $1,200, did not fix it. Then it was at a shop in Corning for 6 months for $1,000, did not fix it. So far he's up to $2,200 and still has no four-wheel drive. This started not shifting, then intermittent. It acted like it was in 4 low when it was in 2 high. Transfer case acts like only 3 detent and oil has not been changed in case. I'm not sure what that means. Tahoe has a new front diff, front actuator works, 3-year-old transmission, left front shaft, new brakes, rotors, plugs, coils, injectors, map sensor, mass airflow, air filter, fuel pump, charcoal canister, muffler, tailpipe, tires, battery, fuel cap, push button, transfer case control module, transfer case control motor, wires traced, grounds fixed, and fuses checked. And lucky you, the front made some loud clicking sound like it was trying to shift when not prompted to. Over. If this is a reasonable fix it. If it needs a transfer case, I'll put one in this summer. Thank you for your time. Impressed with your troubleshooting skills. Love always, Jay. Anywho, so that's where we're at. I keep this stuff right here. I'll show you where you put this, right in your back pocket. And you kind of keep it in your memory, but you forget about it. We need to go ahead and find out what's wrong with it. Find out why the transmission, or the transfer case won't shift into 4-wheel drive. There's a lot of parts inside. The drive shaft lays in the back, the transfer case control module's in the cup holder, and the dash is tore apart. Like I say, it smells like anger. What we're gonna do, what our plan is, you always gotta have a plan. Plan to work the plan. We're gonna plan on doing this the same way we always do things. We're gonna make sure the battery doesn't die on us, because we're probably gonna have the key on for some time. We're gonna scan it and pull codes out of it and see where it's having a problem. To look where it hurts, little Chevy. And then we're gonna go through and see if we can't figure out why. There's no, obviously no guarantee we're gonna be able to fix it, but we're gonna give it our best shot. And then we'll come up with some kind of something to tell the guy. He probably is a little gun shy. People telling him things from the sound of it. We can see it is littered with codes. Let's go to the report just to see. And I don't know, like I said, there's lots of parts and pieces inside. I don't know what's hooked up and what's not at this point. Let's see, we got a loss of comm with transfer case. Motor A/B circuit low, motor ground circuit open, encoder circuit malfunction, lock circuit low. We just did one with this lock circuit, remember that? That had a bad transfer case control module. ABS, oh okay, motor circuit relay open. This is for the supplemental restraints and body control. What I'm going to do, I'm going to save these just so we have it, and then ABC we'll call it. We're going to save it, and then I'm going to clear them, and we're going to see what codes are for Rizzo, because we don't know how many people have been in here fiddling. That leaves us with 2. And then there were 2. Encoder circuit malfunction, transfer case, lock circuit low. So that's interesting. All right, so we, I think, have some direction anyways. We're gonna take them, we'll pop right in here. And I think before we get super far, what we should do is see what is on the vehicle and what is not, because like I say, there is quite a few parts laying inside of here. We've got a transfer case module there. This is how I receive the vehicle. The buttons are hanging out of the dash here. And then if we go to the back, we've got some other stuff. We've got a drive shaft. We've got a transfer case motor. Got your classic wheel bearing. We got the mass airflow. We got the gas cap. Some O2 sensors. Wow, folks, I'm telling you. We got some stuff under here. Anyhow, I guess it's time to start figuring this thing out. Whatnot. That thing's pretty well not holding on anymore. Okay. That's why the lock circuit's open. Ay, ay, ay. So it's missing the transfer case shift motor. So that makes sense to us why the four-wheel drive don't work. So I guess first thing first, we're gonna have to grab that shift motor out of the vehicle. We'll clean out these connectors here, get the mud and the dirt and the grit out of them, and then we'll see what in the thunder's going on here. Well, that was easy. So I slipped that baby back in. So the transfer case shift motor is back on there now. I'm gonna leave the front drive shaft out for ease of testing. All right. So now let's see where we're at. It's kind of the fine details they leave out when they make the appointment, you know. So we'll hop back in here and see what code is in it currently. Okay, so we have a 308 motor AB circuit low. Not familiar with that. We're going to have to look that up. Perhaps somebody has yanked the fuse out of it. Also, I don't know. I don't think we're getting the whole story, but we're going to figure it out. So C0308. Let's check into that and see what the code set criteria is, and see if it's, like I say, just missing a fuse at this point. So they do have a bolt-in actually on this C308. Let's see, or a PIP rather, not even a TSB. Four drive inoperative, 308, ATC fuse open, and then they write, four drive inoperative and four drive service light will illuminate. Diagnosis may reveal that the ATC fuse is open, which we don't know yet, and a C0308 or various U codes may be set. The encoder motor may also be shorted, or the transfer case control module may be damaged. And they say, perform a component check to ensure the encoder motor is not damaged. Verify transfer case control motor ground integrity. Refer to applicable schematics for the control module and encoder motor grounds. If the control module and the encoder motor ground are good, also check G102 and G107. Refer to the shop manual for the locations. And it says here, and this is kind of key, I think, this is good. The transfer case schematics will not show grounds 102 and 107. These grounds are various engine, chassis, and body grounds. If, then, you know, I thought, then, well, how does this apply? So if 102 and 107 are bad, the transfer case control module and the encoder motor can be used as a ground path. So that's really good. This is good info. Usually GM PIPs and TSBs are kind of worthless, but in this case, that's good knowledge, because, you know, let's say we went on and we checked the encoder motor ground circuit and the TCM ground circuit, and we're like, hey, these are good. It's telling us that this G102 and G107, which are engine and chassis and body grounds, if those are bad, the path of ground can likely be through the transfer case control module and or the encoder motor. So that's good. And then there's another one here. Let's see, what's this one? Light comes on, hard to duplicate, 308. I don't think ours is hard to duplicate. Let's see. If diagnostics do not lead to correction, check all grounds and port connections. If the grounds shown in transfer case schematic are clean and tight, also inspect engine grounds, and so on and so forth. So this is also, I guess, just kind of stating the same thing. So that's pretty interesting. We'll have to keep that in our back pocket. So we're going to continue on our path here. The C308 gives us a description. Let's see, what's it say? It says transfer case motor is bidirectional, so it goes both ways. Permanent magnet, DC motor. When energized through motor control A or B, the ground is provided to the opposing motor control circuit. So you got two wires, power and a ground, or ground and a power. Depends on which way it wants the motor to go. It just flip-flops the circuits. And then ground, let's see, by the opposing motor control circuit, then grounded through the transfer case shift control module ground circuit. The motor, through a series of gears, rotates the shaft which moves the mode and range forks to shift the transfer case between high, auto, 2 high, neutral, 4 low, through all the ranges, we'll say. With the transfer case motors energized, the transfer case shift control module also energizes the solenoid for the transfer case lock, which we've done a video on that already. The motor lock is disabled. The locking action is released. And free turning of the transfer case motor and sector shaft is allowed. This DTC detects a short to ground in motor control A or motor control B circuit. So that's interesting. Conditions for setting the code. The transfer case shift control module senses a low voltage return in motor A or B when the high voltage is expected. So essentially we could have an open fuse. So I think that's where we need to go first before we check for shorts and all that stuff. We're going to find us a diagram here. Let's see, what do we want? Powers, grounds, transfer case, and encoder motor. That sounds good. We'll click on that one and we'll see if we can find out where it gets its power from. It's probably going to be one of these big honky tonks up here. So this is motor control circuit, oops, enhance. Motor control circuit A or B, and you can see how it switches from either ground or to 12 volts depending on which way it needs to turn. We have our lock circuit in there, so we know we're already looking at the right diagram, because you guys probably remember that from the previous Chevy we worked on. So we're going to be looking at this ATC fuse here, auto transfer case, 20 ampere. It's the big one, underhood fuse box. And then while we're down there, we will check. See, that's in the left instrument panel. We don't care about that, I guess. So let's do that. Let's go, let's find this little fella right here. ATC 20 amp, and we'll go from there. It's probably blown or missing is my guess. Ooh, somebody's been in here. Let's find the ATC. She's right there. ATC 20 amp, right by the rear def. So this one here, because yeah, rear defogger is a 30, ATC is a 20. We got your 30, we got your 20. The fuse is in it. And let's see, when's that hot? Just like my wife. At all times. We're gonna need this little guy. I guess we better make sure it works. Boom, it works. Boom. Boom. Okay, so we have power on both sides. Does that mean that there's both legs of the fuse? No, Eric, it doesn't. Good question. Let's grab a kiwi right there, and let's have a look at the fuse, make sure the hole's not just wore out here. Oh, she's got good resistance. I just heard something work down there underneath the vehicle. Come on, little fella. You can do it. She looks good in the hole. Both legs are on the fuse. I don't see excessive amounts of corrosion up in there. Let me hold it up to the light. Oh, she looks good. Yep, I just heard the front axle actuator do its thing. Engage. Engage. We do have power on both sides, so that's good. I guess we need to keep calm and carry on. We need to go and check. We need to check our circuit here on the motor. We should have, I don't know, we should have power in, I assume. I don't know if both of them in their resting position. If this is true, are they both setting on ground in their rest position? I don't know. If it has a circuit integrity check, I assume that one of those has power going down it. And then that's what it expects to see on the other side. So let's do something. Well, let's give this a try first, folks. We're going to unplug the motor control circuit. So that's going to be the 4-wire connector, and it's going to be the red and black. I think black is motor control A and B is motor control B. Red is B, A is black. And then I'm gonna see, I don't know if this is gonna work, because I don't know if we're gonna meet the right criteria. I think the engine has to be running, foot on the brake and all that stuff. But we're just gonna stick a test light across A and B. And I'm gonna command it on with a scan tool. And I just commanded it on, and I'm not seeing any action there. Device limits exceeded, it says. Okay, so let's go. You know why? Because look, I'm on the transfer case side. We need to go on the harness side. Awesome. First screw up of the day. Not gonna be my last. So let's go to A and B on the harness side, where something would actually happen if it was gonna happen. Okay, let's try this again. I'm gonna go motor control B. It tells me to set the parking brake, start the engine, hold the brake, put it in neutral. It's in neutral and the key's on. So we're just gonna give it the old college try here. I turned it on and you can see it lights up. I'm gonna shut it back off. So that was motor control B. Let's go to motor control A. Tells me the same thing. I'm gonna turn it on and we can see it lights the light. So it appears that we have control. So what I want to know now, because it seems that we can run at least 4 amps through it, and I think it was only commanding it at 50%. That light didn't seem crazy bright to me, but in either case it was several amps. So before we get too involved with that, let's see, do we have continuity across this motor? You know, do we just have a bad transfer case motor? I don't know what the resistance value will be. It's probably going to depend on where it's sitting on where the brushes are sitting, but it should have continuity across it, right? So let's see what we have. According to the ohm meter, 2.4 ohms, which I guess that's plausible. So 2.4 ohms. So why is it indicating that this circuit is no good when it appears to function? Is this a product of a bad transfer case module? Whoa, hey, everybody needs to kind of calm down there. We can see that sucker moved, and I think it blew a fuse. We didn't have it commanded on anymore. I'm gonna pop back into the scan tool here and see if we can see what happened. I'll tell you what happened is we blew a fuse. I heard it snap. I'm positive as soon as I plugged that thing in, I heard it pop. Yeah, see, it didn't even find the transfer case control module that time. So let's change that fuse and find out what in the thunder happened. There shouldn't have been any power applied to transfer case shift motor A or B. So it's interesting that it blew the fuse. Let's see. That's what happened. Yes, sir, she's open. So that's curious. Okay, didn't blow. I did hear the lock on the transfer case do its thing. Let's set that to the side right there. And then let's move the coffee. Not a sponsor. Let's reread. Let's clear our codes. And then it will reread them. Clear codes, yes. It's not clearing them. Let's back out here. All right, let's clear out our codes. Okay, and it's still indicating a motor AB circuit fault, which is really bizarre. Is that motor, well, here, I got an idea. Can we do this? Can we shift it? Let's see. We can control circuit A and B, which is no good because it doesn't disengage the lock. So that's not helpful. This doesn't allow us to pick. It doesn't allow us to pick which gear we want it in. See, that's the mode switch. Is that going to allow us to shift 2 high to 4 high? It does. But nothing's happening down there. Okay, front axle's unlocked. It's not requested, which is weird because we're requesting 4 high. Perhaps transfer case lock enabled. 4 low, all-wheel drive. Perhaps none of this is functioning simply because we have that circuit code. Let's do this. So here's what I did. You can see I have 2 test lights hanging. One, because in that connector there's 4 wires. 2 of the wires control the transfer case lock. going to inhibit the movement of anything. And then we've already established the other 2 wires are for the transfer case motor control. I want to know one thing is if when I command motor A and B to move, does it disengage to lock? Well, first of all, let's make sure we have, okay, so we have a good lock signal. So our 194 bulb there is the one indicating when I'm commanding unlock the transfer case, so we know that circuit works. And then we already know transfer case control A and B both work, but let's see if it lights up both of them. Let's see if it unlocks it and then tries to move it, because that's going to be critical to know. So we'll try to move it. I'm going to turn the transfer case lock or the motor on. Oh, it does. It unlocks it, then it moves the motor. So that's interesting. Quit moving it. It still has it unlocked. I turn it off. Back out, and then it relocks it. So let's go to transfer case motor B. So this is going to move it in the opposite direction. Hit OK. So we should see if it does the same thing again. It's going to unlock it and then move the motor, and that's the proper process. Unlock, moves the motor, gets all the way to its end. It's looking for certain inputs. It's not seeing them. It doesn't know what to do. It disables everything and then turns the lock back on. Okay, so I'm curious with our load substituted load, I'm going to clear the codes out of it and see if it comes up with a fault. I don't know if this substituted load will be good or not. And apparently it is, because I just cleared the codes and now we have no fault. Now theoretically speaking, if we remove our substituted load for the motor, this is our transfer case motor, and then we come back and we reread the codes, we should have a code for that motor. Why don't we have a code for the motor? That is ridiculous. Okay, maybe because it's detecting a complete short to ground through that motor. Let me plug that back in, folks. Well, I tell you what, before we do, let's unplug the lock. Let's see if it throws a code for the lock. It should throw the code for the lock. Back out of there, go back to trouble codes. We should have a lock code. Transfer case lock circuit low. Okay, so must be the 2.8 ohms or whatever it was that we had in this motor circuit is too low and unacceptable, because it likes the substituted load of our 4 amp light, but it does not like that transfer case motor, which must be too low. So we don't have a known good value, and usually you don't have values on DC brush type motors because they're ever changing. So let's plug that back in. Let's plug it back in. We'll clear the code, see if we have our motor fault. No communication. So as soon as I plugged it in, it blows the fuse. That's pretty peculiar. Let's see if it did blow this fuse. I don't know if we can see inside of these ones. Yes, sir. So I'm going to stick another fuse in there. Just heard the front axle disengage. Now some people are asking, how come I haven't gone through and checked the ground yet? A bad ground can't blow a fuse, regardless of what the internet tells you. A bad ground creates an open circuit. Open circuit creates low current. It takes high current to blow a fuse. So a short to ground will blow a fuse. And I'm assuming internally in that motor, it is shorted and drawing way too much current. So just ohm checking across the motor again. And we're down to 0.5 ohms, okay? What I want to know is, so these wires go directly to, to the transfer case shift motor. So they come around in that loom and then right into the motor, and that's where the lock control circuit is also. So we're going to leave one of these hooked up. We're going to unhook one of these. We're going to clamp it into this baby to see if we have a short right to the transfer case motor. So we'll go right to ground. And it did say in service data that there is a capacitor in the motor, and that we have to leave it hooked for 10 seconds to get a true reading. But we can see that leg of the circuit is direct shorted to ground. Okay, that's one half of the motor circuit has, if we apply power to it, it's just going to go up in smoke, because clearly, 0.3 ohms. I guess we can check the other leg, which it's gonna be the same thing. So let's unhook this side, and then we'll hook up this side. Let's see what that one says. 0.3 ohm. So it stands to reason why this thing blows a fuse. I hate this meter. Why they can't leave the backlighting on. Owie, you son of a mother. How many times you gonna hit your head on that, fella? I don't have any other answer for you folks. This transfer case shift motor is junk and we need a new one. This puts me in a pickle. I just looked it up. The only one I can get today is either a Reman Junker from Napa or a Dorman from Fast Freddy's down the street. I don't like either choice. The one from GM is 640 something bucks. I almost would rather have one from the junkyard than either use a Reman or a Dorman. I'd rather have a junk one. So maybe I was just looking here at the parts guide, and I see it fits 98 to 02 or 01 to 02 Silverado. So it's a pretty short year, but down there at the Wilbur Chupo of the Bath, who doesn't sponsor us, I know they got a lot of these old Chevys, and I'm just thinking, I know it's a gamble getting a used one, but I'd almost rather have used OEM than new Dorman or rebuilt. Because obviously that's what we already have. We already have a Reman that's already junk, and I don't want to be the a-hole to put one on and then 2 weeks later guy takes it and thing's broke again. So I think we might go that route. I've made the executive decision. We're on our way to Wilbert's U-Pole to Bath. Not a sponsor. It is a decent day out. 63 sunshine and 50-mile-an-hour winds. Two-wheel drive. Here's a 4x4. What year is this one? A 2000. I think that's compatible. Negative Ghost Rider. 2500. That's got to be at least, that's probably an 05. I'd like to find one that's not completely freaking rotted. Where's it? Denali. May have came ill prepared, folks. I did not. So this thing's never been out, which is great because it's an OEM. The one bolt I had to wrench out when it hits the drive shaft. I don't know if we're gonna have enough room here. Let me fiddle with this for a minute. Woo! It is windy. It's windy, and we did get one off the Chevrolet. Now this thing only fits a few years. So unfortunately, I did walk through all the rows of the Chevys, and none of them, I didn't find anything out there that was mint, let's put it that way. Almost everything was rotted right in half. But like I say, this one does have a OEM motor on it, or appears to. So I got that off. Couldn't really record it. I was embarrassed I didn't bring enough stuff to get the drive shaft out. I didn't bring anything to take the drive shaft out. I forgot it was in the way. So a little bit of finagling. A few swear words, and boom, out she comes. So hopefully this one that we have is good, or at least better than the Reman or the Dorman at any rate, which I think it will be, providing it works. And then we'll go from there and see if we need to do any more diagnosing, but kind of bizarre, isn't it? We're back.
Hello.
Back from the club, see?
Uh-huh.
You didn't even see my wristband.
Wow.
At the club, had my hula hoop, got some glow sticks.
Wow.
So, what you cooking? Chicken?
Mm-hmm.
What's up? That's it?
I don't remember now.
If you remember, come find us. We'll be fixing stuff.
Okay.
I got some of the schmoo off this, the white crusty stuff, and I figure before I figured we better find the wires to look for before we even stick this little guy in. Let's find out if it is shorted to itself. So I hooked both of these up to the motor circuit, so it should be, you know, whatever it's going to read across the brushes and stuff should be pretty low. So this one is 1.4 ohms, ohm and a half. But more importantly, we want to find out if it's shorted to the case like the other one was. So we'll stick that on there. And technically it shouldn't be, and this says, oh. Let's see, yes sir, make sure I got this going right. And then we're gonna check the other side. And it also says, oh, over the limit. Let's just make sure we do have good continuity here. Let's make sure. Yeah, we do. So case to case, I just want to make sure my connection was good. So that's good. So technically, this one should work. At least that portion of it. We don't know if the rest of it could be junk, but we should at least resolve our motor code. Let's make sure our lock circuit here is intact. That should have, you know, maybe 10 or 15 or 20 ohms, or 19.5. So that tells me that the lock circuit has connection. So I'm going to take and stick this little guy on. Like I say, she's not mint, but it should be better than what we have and should give us some results. Oh, that's my receipt. Where's the list? We had a list. There's quite a list of stuff they had that this thing fit. It's like winning the lotto when you go there. That's all the vehicles they had, but 2000 to 02 basically. Silverados, Avalanches, Suburbans, some 99, some 03 Jimmys, 98K 1500. But whatever, we got us a gasket. Let me pop that on there. Where's our scan tool? Ah, crap. I found it. We left it up here. So let's open this back up. Here, we'll set it down here. And we'll go back in here. Let's see what we have for codes. We're gonna have to clear them out probably. So let's clear them out, unless this motor, we might have just wasted our time. Nope, we didn't just waste our time. Awesome, so no more codes. So let's do this. I think technically our button should be lit up now, right? All right, no more service full drive. This baby lit up? Oh, she is. She's in 4 low. I don't know if I gotta have my foot on the brake. Nope, we don't. Too high. Fancy. Look at that, a piece of junk one from the junkyard works better than a new one. I think we're done, folks. Well, probably ought to put some of this crap back together, I guess. Anywho, I can't leave you guys hanging. Let's take it for a rip. I didn't put the dash back together. I did put the drive shaft in it because we need one of those to check the function of this. Did check the grounds. The G107 is simply the ground strap under the hood. The G102 is that mother lover that lives on the left side of the engine block. You know, the one that when it doesn't work, the car doesn't run. That one. All right, let's go down to the Southmain Auto 4-wheel drive test facility. See how things function. She's got a lot of miles on her, 2.25. A lot for a Chevrolet. Whoa, no brakes. There we go. ABS, got some unwanted ABS activation. Your classic wheel speed sensor dropout from General Motors since 1997. We've made sure you coast through every stop sign. Someday they'll get it right. Maybe when they met the electric car. Ah, great. We can't go to our regular test facility because the town's there. They're fixing up the ballpark, so we better not go there and be jerks. Let's go to our other test facility. We'll use this 4-wheel drive test facility right here. We'll turn in here. We'll go out here where nobody can see us. Out on the slippery grass. All Alright. So let's see. So we're in 2-wheel peel right now. Let's give her some beans. Oh yeah, ooh, she's ripping some rooster tails. 4 high. Give it the whole shot. Oh, she's hooking now, boys. Alright. Back in 2-wheel drive. She shifts. Into the neutral. Into the 4 low. We'll give her a 4 low whole shot. You ready? Chevy Thunder! Yeah! Probably a little more excited than I should have been. Alright, back into the neutral. Back into the 4 high. Hopefully. She's making a shift. Back into the 2 high. Alright, let's turn this beast around. Give me 40 acres and I'll turn this rig around. Better not pull it there, it could be a little saucy. Alright, let's see. I tell you what, let's see, we're in 2-wheel drive. You ready? Oh, I'm stuck, I can't go. What do I do? Boom, put it in 4 auto. Oh, she's hooking now. Oh yeah. Alright. There we go. Don't know what else to do other than just drive it. There's our previous burnout. Sick. Guess we could flex it up on this dirt pile. Get out of here before the cops show up. I don't think the cops will show up, but anywho. I guess we just need to, I don't know, just give it back to the guy and see what happens. If it works, it works. They broke down, are they? Nope, it doesn't look like they got a flat tire. We could stop and help them if they did. Maybe they're just taking a smoke break or something. We'll leave it at that, folks. There's your bonus footage. Enjoy it. There's nothing more we can do.